Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Neutral Zone. I'm Kyle Levasseur, alongside men's ice hockey beat reporter Sierra Goodwill. Sierra, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Well, we're going to jump right into the men's ice hockey teams last weekend. They had a Friday, Saturday doubleheader weekend against the Maine Black Bears up in Orono, Maine. They went into overtime in both games, lost the first one 3-4, and then they rebounded in the second one. They ended up winning 4-3 off a Craig Martin winning goal. Sierra, what did you think about this past weekend?
Well, Kyle, last year we saw a lot of the opposite. We saw a lot of Quinnipiac getting down early, and in the third period, they were able to miraculously string some passes together and find the back of the net to pull out a tie or pull out a win in the end of the game. But this year, it seems to be on the other side of things, finding themselves up early and then kind of collapsing late in the third period, like you saw against Northeastern in the first series of this team's season. In the first game, they ended up
goal with 53 seconds left.
Exactly. That just can't happen. You score with 6 minutes left in the third period. All the Bobcat fans think that this is a sure win, start leaving the arena, and then True lets one up with 53 seconds. And then in the game one against Maine, let up 3 third period goals to send it into overtime, and then let up another goal in overtime to lose to Maine in game one. They were able to rebound the next day and pull out the win, but these late game collapses are definitely going to be something to look for Rand Pecknold to fix with this team. I don't know if it's a lapse in focus, a new goalie, the freshman defenseman getting a little scared or worried in the final period of the game, but it's definitely something this team needs to work on if they want to stay dominant this season.
Definitely. I think it's definitely concerning when you come into a matchup, number 3 in the country. Maine wasn't even ranked coming into this weekend. Now Quinnipiac drops to 4. We'll get to the rest of the USCHO.com polls later on, but it's definitely concerning that they go into overtime in both games. But you mentioned the goalies. There's Chris Truhl, the transfer from Air Force, and then Andrew Shortridge, the freshman from Alaska. How impressed were you with each goalie, and which one do you think is going to take the starting job?
Well, Rand Pecknold said it the week before the first series with Northeastern. All 3 goalies on this team he was really impressed with, and Truhl said he didn't even know that he was going to be playing in the Northeastern series until the day before the first game, so that just speaks to how talented each of them are, and they really are both capable of getting that starting job. But Truhl did really impress me in this Northeastern series. You know, Northeastern is a really, really talented team, and he was able to pull out a tie and a win in his first collegiate game in over a year, because he did have to redshirt last year, being a transfer. He's 1-1 this season. He struggled, like I said, in that game 1 with Maine, letting up 3 third period goals. So they did put Shortridge in there. Shortridge did a pretty good job. I was impressed with his play, but when Quinnipiac plays UConn Wednesday night, I do expect to see Truhl between the pipes again.
Good points. And we mentioned the USCHO.com polls earlier on. Let's jump right to it and look at the polls. North Dakota, the reigning national champions, are on top with all 50 first place votes completely dominating the rest of the polls. Minnesota Duluth is in second. Hockey East Notre Dame is in third. The Bobcats are in fourth, dropping from third. UMass Lowell is in fifth, rounding out the top 5. And then if you look at other ECAC contenders, you have St. Lawrence at 12, Harvard at 13, Yale at 16, and then Quinnipiac's next matchup against BU, they are 8th. We mentioned UConn earlier. Then let's jump right into the midweek games. They face UConn tonight at 7 o'clock. Our beat reporters will be there, so make sure to follow them at Q30 Sports. But Sierra, what do you think these midweek games does to a team, considering that they're used to playing every weekend, Friday and Saturday night?
Well, I think when you think of midweek games playing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, you would think that teams could struggle because they have less rest and recovery time.
Absolutely.
They have to worry about schoolwork, their classes the next day. But last season, Quinnipiac actually did very well in their midweek games. They were 7-0-2, and 5 of their 7 wins were shutouts. Their 2 ties were against UMaine, who we saw them struggle with against last weekend, and RPI, a conference game, and those conference games are always a battle. They're kind of unpredictable. So I think against this UConn game, I don't think the midweek aspect of it is going to be much of a factor as we see last year. They didn't really struggle too much with that. UConn, a little history between UConn and Quinnipiac. They are 6-2-2 in the last 10 meetings since 2003 and 13-7-2 all-time in Division I level against the Huskies. One person that is definitely we need to look out for is Tage Thompson. For the Huskies, he has 4 goals and 6 points in the first 4 games for the Huskies. Quinnipiac is really going to need to shut him down to be able to pull out the win on Wednesday night.
Well, we saw it on Bobcat Breakdown last night. Our own women's ice hockey beat reporter Kirby Paulson, he's a Hockey East buff. He was saying that this upcoming midweek game might be the reason that Truhl had the rest coming into Saturday's game, give him a little bit of rest. Do you think that was the reason Shortridge played in the second game?
I think it could have been a factor. I do think that Rand Pecknell was thinking ahead at these Hockey East matchups, which tend to be a little bit more difficult. I know people think that Hockey East is the superior conference for college hockey. But so yes, maybe he did take him out for that rest time, but also he was struggling. He let up 4 goals in the third period in overtime. So maybe he just needs to take him out to make sure he gets his mind right, refocus, and be ready for UConn.
I'm excited for these Hockey East matchups. It's always been a great debate, ECAC versus Hockey East. Can't wait to see it. The whole men's ice hockey beat reporting squad will make the trip up to Boston to see number 8 Boston University take on number 4 Quinnipiac. So make sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports. Sierra, thank you so much. When we come back, women's ice hockey beat reporter Matt McAuliffe will be at the desk to talk some women's puck.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
Freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Trisha Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me. Like,
Oh, well, 7 of me then.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Pause.
In the end, we're here to win a championship this year.
Jess Fontana has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back. And my number 1, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is. It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
Everyone, and welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Matt McAuliffe now joins me at the desk. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kyle. How are you?
I'm great. So the women's ice hockey team traveled to Pennsylvania to face on unranked Mercyhurst. They had a similar week in the men's hockey where they split. They lost game 1 in a 3-2 matchup and then ended up winning off a TT Cianfrano game-winning goal in game 2. It was a 1-0 final. But Matt, what are your concerns after this Mercyhurst series now that they split against an unranked opponent?
So my concerns are, there aren't many concerns, but the one concern I would say is the defense. This women's ice hockey team has a great forwards. They have great forwards.
Absolutely.
With Emma Woods, with TT, and
Sam
Miskevich as well. They're dominant, and I think the one major issue is the defense. They're inexperienced, and coming up against BC, it's going to be interesting to see how the young defensemen play against BC, because BC has some playmakers. They like to make individualized plays and not really share the puck as much. So I'd like to see how these young defensemen take on BC.
Well, luckily for those young defensemen, they have an experienced goaltender in net in Sydney Rossman. She was ECAC goaltender of the year last season. She's continuing to put up great numbers this year. What did you see from her this past weekend?
I saw that I've seen through the whole season. She's a brick wall in between the pipes. In the first game, she faced 27 shots. Sure, she led by 3. You're going to have bad games. It happens. But the game 2, only facing 9 shots, deflected all 9. She was dominant, and I do not think she was the issue this weekend. Like I said, I think it was the defense that was the issue.
Well, we mentioned that Mercyhurst was an unranked opponent. Let's jump and see how Quinnipiac fared in the USCHO.com polls. They did drop from number 2 to 3 in the polls. 2 was the highest that the program had ever been in the polls. Wisconsin is still on top with all 20 first-place votes. Minnesota, the reigning national champs, coming in at 2. Quinnipiac's next matchup against Hockey East, Boston College, they're ranked 6th, and then some other ECAC opponents. St. Lawrence is at 7, and Clarkson is at 8. So, you know, BC, like I just mentioned, they are ranked 6th. Matt, what are you expecting from this upcoming weekend matchup?
So what I'm expecting from the BC series is actually a lot. It's a huge series for this women's ice hockey team. As like you said, it's number 3 against number 6. So it's going to be tight. A player that you should watch out for BC, Megan Keller. She's returning. She was on that 40-1 BC squad. They were dominant. And she is going to be a player to watch out for. I mean, she is one of the leading scorers, and I want to keep an eye on her for BC. But for QU, I want to keep an eye out for Melissa Samaskevich. I talked to Cass Turner during the media day, and she said the Mercyhurst weekend was one of her best games without the puck. She's aggressive even when she's not on the scoring sheet. So I think what it's going to come down to is, yes, aggression and offensive productivity. And I think it's going to be tight, and I do believe that since it is a home-and-home series, I do believe the team split 1-1.
Interesting. So Boston College is coming off, you know, they had a 52-game unbeaten streak in Hockey East until they lost to Maine this past weekend, and then Mercyhurst also was able to take one from Quinnipiac. What players do you expect to stand out in the series?
The series with Quinnipiac versus BC?
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, Megan Keller, definitely one to watch out for. And like you said, BC's off to a slow start. They're definitely missing the presence of Alex Carpenter. I mean, she had 133 goals and a career plus-minus of plus 180. They're missing that presence, and they're off to a 3-2-1 start, which is slow for this BC team. But, like I said, they have a home-and-home, and watch out for Megan Keller. I do believe that they still split 1-1.
Something interesting about the first game, Quinnipiac will be giving out 500 pairs of mittens, I noticed, for the first game. Not as interesting as Josh Silverman's 1,000 nugget idea, but still pretty cool stuff. So, Sydney Rossman, we were talking about her earlier. She's going to be key in this upcoming match against a
Absolutely.
great Boston College offense. She has 4 shutouts already on the season in 6 games. She's approaching the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey career shutout record.
Yes.
How key is she going to be in this upcoming matchup, and what do you think? How many goals do you think she's going to let up?
She's going to be very key. She is going to be that rock that this Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team needs. And she needs to step up in a very big way. She needs to be a leader as well as a playmaker. The amount of goals that I think she'll let up, through the whole weekend series, I think game 1, I expect 2. Game 2, I only expect 1. At home, she's been dominant. And
So with BC having such a great season last year, they almost went undefeated until the national championship. How come do you think they're able to take one? What is it specifically about Cassandra Turner's program that is going to be able to take one away from BC?
it's just the chemistry with this team and the offensive power with this team and the leadership of Emma Woods with this team. This offense can get stuff done. They can score goals. They are always pushing, never quitting, and that's what I like about this team, and that's what I think will get them a W against the Boston College Eagles. Great points. They have TTC in front of. She had a game-winning goal. She has 4 game-winning goals on the year. Talk about veteran leadership. She also leads the ECAC in goals with 6, 4 more than anyone else on Turner's squad. And she really is a spark plug to this team. The one game that they lost this year against Mercyhurst, that was the only game that she hasn't recorded a point. So it just shows how essential she is to this program's success. Well, Matt, that's all the time we've got for the Neutral Zone. Thanks for sticking with us. You can follow all our men's and women's ice hockey beat reporters on Twitter. We're going to be at the BC games this weekend. We're going to be at the BU game and the UConn game tonight. So make sure to follow for all your updates. We've got game recaps, rebounds, all the good stuff coming on Q30television.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.